It's just illustration after illustration of the same general claim. Let me put this to you another way, kind of clear the register. I said we compare entire worldviews, right? The entire enchilada of Christianity versus the entire worldview of the existentialist or the evolutionist or what have you. Now, is a worldview disproven if one of its essential claims is false? Well, you can't be that tired. This is an easy one. Let's see some nodding heads. Yes, Dr. Monson, isn't that obvious? If I'm comparing two worldviews, we use our square and circle. Here are our two worldviews. And I can show that an essential element of this worldview is false, then in fact it's not coherent, is it? The worldview is not going to be adequate. You can't use a false position as the foundation for all that you think. Well, I mean, you can, but the point is it will not be intellectually successful to do so. That's why when I debate with the atheist, and I point out your worldview can't salvage logic, but you need logic, what I'm saying is your worldview is not a precondition of intelligibility. You can't make sense out of life on your worldview. So if I show a false element in his worldview, then I've destroyed his worldview as the precondition of intelligibility. Everybody knows what I'm saying here? Now, if the Christian worldview claims to be the exclusively true precondition of intelligibility, that claim is either true or it's false, isn't it? Christianity says this is the only way. Well, if there's another way besides Christianity, then Christianity is wrong to say it's the only way. And if Christianity is wrong to say this is the only way, then you've got a faulted worldview. Can a faulted worldview be the precondition of intelligibility? No, it can't. Therefore, if Christianity is the precondition of intelligibility, it must be the only precondition of intelligibility. It must be the only worldview that will do that, because it says it's the only worldview. I hope you notice I am not coming before you and saying Christianity says it's the only one, so that's it. It has to be the only one. What I'm saying is, if Christianity is going to be accepted as providing the precondition of intelligibility, it can only do so if it's the only one. Because essential to this worldview, essential to this whole enchilada, is that it's the only enchilada. And that's why I don't have to worry after I've knocked down 9 or 10 opponents out there of worldviews that maybe the 11th one's going to come along and get me. As a Christian, my certainty rests in the self-attesting authority of God. Given the self-attesting authority of God in this worldview, I can make sense out of human limitation as well as human rationality, the good in man and the bad in man. I can make sense out of particularity as well as universality. On and on and on. So it does appear to provide the preconditions of intelligibility. But if it should be wrong in a major claim, a central claim that it's the only one, then it's not, in fact, a worldview that provides the preconditions of intelligibility. So that's why I say, if ours is, it must be the only. One more version of the does not show Christianity to be the only position. One of the ways in which we should be satisfied that it's the only one, I'm not resting in this, but one of the ways is we should say, well, where's the alternative? Right? It's legitimate to take that approach. I say I'm the only guy who can do this. Where's my competitor? Let's have him come up. Now, after a while, people stop coming, you know. One steps in and goes, oh yeah, well I'm a rationalist, and then you refute him. Another guy comes up, I'm an empiricist. You refute him. After a while, people stop coming up. We say, where are they? Where are the opponents? Come on. What does Paul say? Where is the scribe? Where's the debater of the sage? Come on. Hasn't God made foolish the wisdom of this world? Aren't you satisfied? Haven't we beat you up enough? Where's the next guy? No one steps forward. Now, it's legitimate in terms of our social interchange to say this is the only one because it's the only one we can find. But then someone will say, but you don't know what might come up in the future. I love it when that criticism is made of presuppositionalism. I say, no, wait a minute. Let me see if I understand the scenario as you're presenting it to me. We have all these different worldviews out there. All these different options are out there. And the ones that are out there that we know about, when Christianity gets in a debate with it, boom, 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 they get all knocked down. And then somebody who's been knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, all these vain hopes of having an alternative to Christianity have been slain. He doesn't have a clue as to what the next one would be. But he says, maybe in the future somebody will have one. Well, you see, that isn't what you call, we don't call that reasoning. We call that blind faith. Isn't that right? And the irony to me is that, and I've been in academic circles for many years, the irony to me is that's the way the unbelieving world thinks Christians operate. The unbelieving world thinks we're the ones who say, oh, we can't answer this, but maybe in the future. We just have this blind faith, the eschatological cop-out, as we put it. The day is coming when God will make it all clear, but we couldn't possibly answer you now. And lo and behold, now we have the unbeliever saying that, and we're supposed to say what? Well, we shouldn't have any confidence that we're right because maybe out there somewhere somebody will develop an alternative. That's just wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is not an argument. What's apologetics about? Argument. We can all get together and exchange wishful, hopeful, ideas of what might happen someday, but that's not an argument. So if apologetics is about argumentation, if all the opponent of the presuppositional theory has is wishful thinking, I have nothing to worry about. And of course, that wishful thinking is totally inadequate for the present debate anyway. Because it's not in the future that my thinking becomes intelligible, it's in the present that my thinking is intelligible. How is it that my thinking is intelligible now, and the thinking of the entire human race going back all these thousands of years has been intelligible, but no one has ever had a clue as to how it could be intelligible? You see, this wishful thinking is worse than just a failure to argue. It's a failure to look at what we've been doing all along. It's just one more version of saying, the facts may point to God, but I am going to close my eyes and I don't want to think about it. So I don't think either one of these versions, it does not prove enough, are really effective against the presuppositional theory.